Part 46. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 455. Looking at the arrogant Chen Yun, Su Junming shook his head. What a frog in the well. Thinking that having a magic treasure can defeat the monks who have just entered the soul is arrogant. This kind of thing can only happen in this island country where there are not many monks. Unlocking the seal in the body, mana poured into the green bamboo staff. The power of the nine forbidden spirit treasures has truly come into play. The mighty greenwood spiritual light covered the sky and blocked out the sun. If Su Junming hadn't used the Huishan technique to separate the space here from the outside world in order to eliminate evil, it would have caused a sensation in the entire domestic city. Looking at the vast blue light in shock, Chen Yun felt his throat go dry. He swallowed with a gulp of saliva, and the cold sweat on his forehead and back instantly flowed down. How can it be? Seeing the overwhelming green aura, Chen Yun gritted his teeth and poured all the mana into his hands, the 9 sons of heavenly demon god banner. 9 fat dolls, white and tender, but with ferocious expressions, flew out from the sacred flag. When they landed on the ground, they transformed into 9 giant demons that were 100 feet tall and full of evil aura. All the trolls stood in a row, protecting Shen Yun behind them. It's a pity that he, a newcomer to Yuanying, is far behind Su Junming in terms of strength. Although the magic weapon is easier to practice and more powerful than the magic weapon, it is still inferior to Su Junming's green bamboo staff. As soon as the troll and Aoki's spiritual light touched, it was instantly destroyed. Bang bang bang. The arrogant King Mu's spiritual light destroyed all the trolls in an extremely fast time. Rare. Bang, like a burst balloon, blood mist flew all over the sky. As soon as Su Junming withdrew his magic power, the vast greenwood aura quickly retracted and disappeared into the green bamboo staff. He reached out and made a move, and the broken 9 sons of heavenly demon god flag fell into his hand. After a brief realization, he couldn't help but sigh. When he was in Uncle Ju's world, he had come into contact with the 9 sons of heavenly demon, but he had not yet fully mastered it at that time. The power is far inferior to this magic flag made of the souls, bones and flesh of tens of thousands of babies. You must know that compared to adults, babies have the most innate spiritual energy in their bodies right after birth. And it is almost not infected by the acquired spiritual energy, and the spirituality is excellent. If it is used to refine magic weapons, it can easily produce powerful magic weapons without much skill in refining them. In ancient times, the demon clan's witch-slaying sword was made with billions of human souls and bones. The great witches of the witch clan, who were powerful and physically strong, suffered heavy casualties under this sword. But such a magic weapon kills too much and harms the peace of the world. It has already entered the path of evil and will cause endless troubles. Su Junming looked down upon such a thing, but this magical treasure could not be taken lightly. Let's clean up after we've finished dealing with this place. Looking at the remaining flesh and blood in the field, he waved the demon flag, and the demonic energy rolled and was quickly swallowed up completely, especially Chen Yun's flesh and blood, which instantly restored the damaged areas. As soon as he took a step forward, Su Junming's body sank into the ground as his spiritual light flashed. After passing through several layers of forbidden laws, we came to a hall deep underground. Who are you, who dare to break into Feiyun Palace without permission? The 2 golden elixir monks who were responsible for guarding this place instantly discovered Su Junming, who broke in here without any scruples. With a casual wave of his hand, the 9 sons heavenly demon banner's demonic energy surged, and the 2 of them were taken in at the sight. The 2 people who were dizzy looked at the fat dolls with pink makeup surrounding them, with extreme fear on their faces. 9 sons of heavenly demon. Don't, ah. The fat baby instantly turned into a ferocious devil, swarmed over them, and quickly chewed up both of them until no bones or dregs were left. Listening to the screams, Su Junming felt no pity in his heart. The evil aura on these two people was so strong that countless children died in their hands. Now that they died under the banner of the 9 sons of heavenly demon god, it was considered retribution. Looking at the main hall in a blink of an eye, it was 200 to 300 square meters, with 8 stone pillars supporting the stone top 4 to 5 feet high from the ground. A huge luminous pearl in the center illuminates every detail of this place. There are 2 aisles at the back of the hall. Su Junming walked to the right. After 100 meters, rooms appeared on both sides. These rooms are like cages, each containing 2 children of about 1 year old. Judging by their looks, they were all well taken care of. No, not great. Each of them has an extremely rich essence flowing through them, like a large elixir. Obviously, this is not a favor, but a feast cultivated by the Shen family for those cannibal demons. Thinking of the information he had obtained from the memories of the Shen family's offerings, Su Junming felt a great hatred in his heart. Fortunately, he knew how to exercise restraint, otherwise these delicate children would not be able to withstand his momentum. Kuei Niu, Hefeng, send all the children here to Daihuang Mountain. Yes, sir. In response, a cow and a dog got busy. Bring all the children in the rooms to Daihuang Mountain for placement. Putting all the rooms together, there are nearly 100 children who have been carefully cultivated in this way. In another aisle, there are also cages, but the physical condition of the children locked in them is obviously not as good as that of these carefully raised children. Although they cannot be called malnourished, they are not much better. Obviously, they are all consumables used to refine treasures. So the number is large enough, close to 500. Adding these to the list, more than 1,000 children have been rescued by Su Junming in the past month. Master, it's all done. 1 cow and 1 dog come back to life. Su Junming nodded, waved his hand, and brought them into the air. Looking at the manor at his feet, with an indifferent expression, he clapped his hand and a yellow light burst out. The moment it enveloped the earth, the soil underground suddenly boiled, like a rushing river, and quickly swallowed up the entire manor. After everything calmed down, the place had become flat land. With a flick of the finger, countless flowers, plants, vines, and trees sprouted from the ground. In an instant, it grew like a forest. After staring for a moment, Su Junming turned around and looked towards the imperial city, his expression getting colder and colder. Kuei Niu. Master. You and Hefeng go and destroy the Shen family. No one with a spirit of resentment will be spared. Master, Lao Niu, I have long wanted to tear these bastards alive. But Lao Niu is not good at observing qi. If he accidentally kills them. Before he finished speaking, Su Junming waved his hand, and Kuei Niu felt his eyes light up, and everything in front of him became a little clearer. I will bless you with the qi discrimination technique. Within an hour, the effect of this technique will not be lost. If you still cannot destroy the Shen family within an hour, I will punish you in seclusion for 2 months. Upon hearing this, Kuei Niu trembled in his heart. Liang Jieze. That is 120 years. Unfortunately, the total time he has spent practicing is only this long. If you really want to stay in seclusion for 2 months, you will have to die of suffocation. Bang bang, Kuei Niu slapped his chest loudly. Don't worry, sir, Lao Niu will clean up those messes in half an hour at most. Then go quickly. Yes yes. Kuei Niu waved his hand, holding the black dog with his magic power, and flew straight towards the Shen family not far away. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 456. In the splendid palace, a middle-aged man wearing a dragon robe with a sinister expression and a hint of madness in his eyes sat on the dragon chair at the intersection of Kowloon. Next to him stood an old eunuch with a white face and no beard. The person standing opposite the two of them was Shen Lu, the head of the Shen family who was in the Star Jiang Tower earlier. the top official of Dao Kingdom who was under one person and over 10,000 people. Shen Iking, I heard that during this period, the worship team of Fi'un Pavilion that collected meat ginseng was severely damaged by unknown forces. A slightly feminine voice echoed in the hall. Back to the king, several worshippers in Fi'un Pavilion did die, but the word serious damage is an exaggeration, Shen Lu said calmly. Yeah. After giving a sarcastic smile, Yu Ye, the leader of the Great Yu Kingdom, who was wearing a dragon robe, subconsciously raised his hand and touched his neck. There, a flesh seam that seemed to be sewn with thread was vaguely visible. Absolutely true. Looked at him deeply. Shen Iking, you must know that over the years, the imperial court has spent a lot of money to encourage those mud-legged people to have children. If you fail in the selection of meat and ginseng, I will not agree to it. Don't worry, Your Majesty, the affairs of Fi'un Pavilion are as stable as Mount Tai. That's good. As soon as he finished speaking, Shen Lu's expression suddenly changed. Yu Ye, who had been paying attention to him, immediately said, Shen Iking, what did you think of? Shen Lu, who was sophisticated and cunning, did not answer immediately. At this time, he was already panicking. Just now, he realized that the consciousness in the 9 sons of heavenly demon god banner that he gave to his third son, Chen Yun, had been erased. The 9 sons of heavenly demon god banner is a spiritual treasure that he has spent nearly 100 years and nearly 1,000,000 souls to cultivate. There are a total of 1 main flag and 8 sub-flags. The 9-faced divine flags can be combined into one, and can set up the 9 sons of heavenly demons and immortals' immortal killing formation, which is so powerful that even if a strong soul falls into it, he can rely on the power of the divine flags to suppress it with the flip of his palm. Originally, the 9-sided 9 sons of heavenly demon god flags were all in his hands, and they were the natal spiritual treasures that he valued most. But recently, things have happened to the worshippers of Fi'un Pavilion. In order to protect this foundation, he took a banner and gave it to the third son guarding Fi'un Pavilion. Originally, he thought that with the 9 sons of heavenly demon god banner, which was no worse than a mid-grade spiritual treasure, and coupled with the late cultivation of the third son of nascent soul, even an ordinary soul could block it. Even if you can't block it, you can still delay it until he rushes over and kills the powerful enemy. Unexpectedly, he had just come to the palace for tea time, and the 9-son demon god banner that he had given him would lose contact with him. With one step, he left the palace like lightning. When Yu Ye saw this scene, the anger in his eyes instantly swelled. Damn it, Shen Lu is so arrogant and dares to ignore my words. Your Majesty, calm down. The white-faced and beardless old eunuch next to him quietly stepped forward and said respectfully. Yu Ye turned his head suddenly, and the anger and madness in his eyes were released without any scruples. However, the white-faced and beardless old eunuch did not show any fear on his face, but his respectful expression did not change. With a wave of his hand, the aura blocked the outside world, and the old eunuch said in a calm tone, Shen Lu has a high level of cultivation, and the 9 sons of heavenly demon god banner is powerful. Even though the king has the flying skull magic, it is difficult to defeat him. Now, it will be of no benefit to the king's cultivation to break up his face. So, I dare you, the old slave, to ask the king to temporarily put down his thunderous wrath. After Yu Ye listened, the anger and madness in his eyes gradually subsided. What the great companion said was inspiring, and I have learned from it. Your Majesty, it's serious. This old slave's wealth and life are all given by the king. It is my duty to plan for the king. Yu Ye's face showed emotion and he grabbed the other person's hand. Only my great companion in this world is truly good to me. Without leaving any trace, he pulled his hand out of the opponent's palm. Your Majesty, Shen Lu was acting suspiciously just now. I want to go out and have a look first. Good. After Yu Ye nodded, the old eunuch had a flash of inspiration and disappeared in the palace instantly. The hall instantly became empty, with only Yu remaining here. His expression was sometimes crazy, sometimes indifferent, and he didn't know what he was thinking of. Outside the main hall, Shenlu was in mid-air, looking at the distance in the direction of Fiyun Pavilion. As far as the eye can see, everything is calm. What happened? Shenlu gradually felt intense uneasiness in his heart, and his brows furrowed tightly. What is Master Shen looking at? Hearing the feminine, strange, and familiar voice, Shenlu's heart moved, but he did not look back. Eunuch Lu is not here to serve the king, so why are you here? The king was quite worried about Lord Shen's sudden departure, so he asked the old slave to come over and take a look. He also specifically ordered that if Lord Shen encounters difficulties, let the old slave help. Help. Shen Lu said calmly, I'm afraid the king is very angry now, right? Lord Shen is overly worried. Your Majesty is considerate of the old ministers. Lord Shen is in charge of Fiyun Pavilion. He has worked conscientiously and loyally to the country for many years. Your Majesty will bear this in mind. It is just a disobedience in front of the palace. How can the king blame you? After a pause, the conversation changed. I see that the direction your lord is looking at is where Fiyun Pavilion is. He left in a hurry just now, but something went wrong in Fiyun Pavilion. Eunuch Lu is overly worried. Fiyun Pavilion is safe and sound. Before he finished speaking, his expression suddenly changed. Next to him, Eunuch Liu's expression also changed suddenly. They clearly noticed that a powerful space barrier had isolated the two people's consciousness from all over the imperial city. This powerful barrier not only isolated the surrounding areas, but also sealed the sky and the earth. The two looked at each other and each took action. When Shen Lu raised his palm, a giant flag several feet tall and completely black came out violently. The powerful nine-size Yingxia rolled forward like a raging ocean tide. A black floating dust appeared in the hand of Eunuch Lu next to him. With a flick of the floating dust, 3,000 black evil threads flew straight out of the imperial city like 3,000 giant pythons. The two men made a move with an earth-shattering momentum, and the entire imperial city trembled under the two men's tyrannical momentum. However, although their attacks were powerful, the results were different. After Zhouzi Yingxia flew into the edge of the imperial city, it seemed to be swallowed by something and disappeared directly. But the black floating dust seemed to be grasped by a giant hand that had always been invisible, and its roots jumped straight. The expressions of both of them changed greatly, and Eunuch Liu's expression became even worse. At this moment, he only felt an unstoppable force coming from his spiritual treasure. No matter how he activated his magic power, he could not shake the powerful force that could destroy mountains. It was as if there was a powerful ancient beast wrestling with him in the void outside the imperial city. Holding his natal spiritual treasure tightly with both hands, Eunuch Liu's old face turned red from suppressing it. Even so, his body still involuntarily rose into the air and flew straight towards the edge of the imperial city. At the moment, he couldn't care about anything else and shouted anxiously. Master Shen, come and help me. Shen Lu is also a decisive person. At this moment, facing a powerful enemy, joining forces is the best way to survive. When the magic power is activated, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 giant black flags fly out from the dantian. Although the 8-sided giant flags are similar in shape, it can be seen that the aura of the middle side is the most powerful. Shenlu activated his magic power, and the 8-sided giant flags were filled with powerful spiritual light. The extremely dense 9 suns Yingxia gathered into a black giant pillar nearly 100 feet thick, as if it were a solid black pillar. Like a vast spiritual light, it headed straight towards the black dust sucked. Position, pour out. The tyrannical Zhouzi Yingxia made Shen Lu feel more courageous. He spent hundreds of years of hard work, millions of babies' lives, bones, blood and spiritual sacrifices to cultivate the magic treasure, which is the strongest in this world. Even the founders of the famous sects of the Daong dynasty would suffer under the banner of their 9 sons, the heavenly demon god. But soon, his excited expression froze on his face. The 9 sons Yangsha he was holding seemed to have entered a bottomless pit after touching the edge of the imperial city. No matter how he activates his magic power, Jozi Yingsha will not be able to easily pollute the magic weapon, nirvana the consciousness, and destroy the enemy's body as easily as in the past. How so? Shen Lu exclaimed in surprise. Nothing could have a greater impact on him than the magic weapon he was holding losing its power. Damn it! A roar sounded in his ears. The moment he turned his head, he saw the floating dust made of black silk in Eunuch Liu's hand, like a kite with its string broken, being taken away like lightning. It disappeared into the edge of the imperial city. Those who hide their heads and show their tails, if you have the ability, come out and fight our family openly. The life treasure that he had worked so hard to cultivate was taken away, and Eunuch Liu became so angry that his voice was so loud, it was like a kicked drake, which was particularly unpleasant to hear. I've always been here, it's just that you incompetent people couldn't find it. A clear voice came from above the 2 of them. The 2 of them were shocked and quickly looked up. A young Taoist priest wearing a green Taoist robe, holding a bamboo staff and a green leather gourd hanging from his waist came into view. Master Chongshan Su Junming! Shen Lu instantly exclaimed. After looking at him, Su Junming smiled faintly. I didn't expect that in this remote place overseas, there are still people who know me. Eunuch Liu, who looked furious just now, suddenly changed his expression. A look of fear couldn't help but show up in his eyes. Although they are overseas, they have always been very concerned about the trends in the practice circles of the Daong dynasty. After annihilating the Black Heart demon cult, massacring the Longjiang Shui tribe, Chongshan Master Su Junming rose like a comet. His illustrious achievements not only shocked Daong, but also spread throughout the overseas cultivation world. Moreover, what frightens Shen Lu and Eunuch Liu the most is that this man is not only extremely skilled in cultivation, but he also hates evil and has a character and style of doing everything possible to get rid of evil. He is simply their biggest enemy. I originally thought that this person was in Daong and would not come overseas. Unexpectedly, it only took so long to meet each other in person. Su Zhenren's reputation has long spread throughout the East China Sea cultivation world. Shen has always admired the real person very much. In the past, he was busy with official duties and separated by thousands of miles of sea, so he never had the chance to see him. Now that he can see the real person in this important place of the palace, it is really a blessing. Shen Lu thought about lightning in his mind and said at the same time. Next to him, Eunuch Liu was not a fool. Although his life treasure was taken away, which made him furious, he also knew how to bow his head in the face of absolute strength. Master Su is well. My king also admires Master Su very much. If he hears that Master Su is coming, he will definitely welcome him. Su Junming smiled lightly. Just now you were shouting at me to kill me, now you are flattering me. It's a pity, it's a pity. You are all burdened with injustice and have done all kinds of evil things. Especially in this imperial city, which is a magic kill, you should all deserve it. Kill. The expressions of Shen Lu and Eunuch Liu suddenly changed. Does the real person really want to embarrass us at all costs? Shen Lu looked ugly. Despite everything? Haha, you are just 2 clowns. Su Junming, who was in mid-air, stretched out his hand and grabbed the space barrier that isolated the imperial city, and instantly squeezed it towards the inside. Anyone with evil aura will be swallowed up by him in an instant. This change naturally fell into the eyes of Shen Lu and Eunuch Liu. Let's take action together. Eunuch Liu nodded vigorously. Neither of them are fools. They know very well that there is no way to survive without union. And the brief confrontation just now fully proved the enemy's strength. However, Eunuch Liu, who had suffered a loss, did not use Lingbao again. The seal in the palm changed, and the hair on the back of the head danced like a snake, and the ferocious evil energy bloomed with tyrannical power. Next to him, Shenlu clasped his palms together, and the main banner of the 9 demon banners stood above his head. The 8-faced banners were arranged in the 8 directions of Qincan, Sunzan, Canli, Zhandui. However, it can be seen that the 9 Suns heavenly demon flag in the direction of Sun Palace is obviously weaker than the other 8-sided 9 Suns heavenly demon god flags. The 9-faced divine flags gathered into an array, and the vast 9 Zia Yingsha soared into the sky. 9 sons of heavenly demons and immortals killing formation. The formation of 10,000 snakes. The overwhelming 9 sons Yingsha and the long black hair rushed towards Su Junming. This move, which any soul cultivator must be careful to deal with after seeing it, was full of loopholes in his eyes. With a finger, an 8-treasure pagoda with a mighty aura flew out. Under the influence of magic power, the spiritual pagoda instantly expanded by 100 feet, like Mount Tai pressing down on the top of the mountain, pressing down on the 2 of them. Boom! The 3 parties collided instantly. He's by Chunyang Ruyi, Tianlong sword, bamboo staff, golden sword, alms bowl, flame flag, dharma seal, 8 spiritual treasures. The first 3 have reached the 12th level of spiritual ban, and the last 5 have also reached the 10th level of spiritual ban. 8 powerful spiritual treasures, under the formation, simultaneously burst out with tyrannical power. The mighty 8-color spiritual light was like the strongest dam. No matter how much Eunuch Lu and Shenlu used their magical powers or spiritual treasures, they still could not stop the 8 treasures pagoda from falling rapidly. Damn it, if my 9 sons of heavenly demon formation could be complete, I wouldn't be in such a mess. Shenlu felt extremely regretful. The 9 sons of heavenly demon flags that he temporarily placed in the Sun Palace are only magic weapons, and their power is far inferior to other divine flags. Although he used it to form a formation without any force, the power exerted was not as good as that of the Lingbao level banner. Just when the 2 of them were about to be suppressed by the 8 treasures pagoda, a black spiritual light flew from the palace that had been silent. This aura is filled with the aura of violence, bloodthirst, and killing. Su Junming raised his left palm and shot it in the air. The wind and clouds swirled, and the huge palm instantly collided with the black aura. With a boom, the spiritual light was destroyed. At the same time, the 8 treasures pagoda also fell, shocking Shenlu and Lu Eunuch to death under the tower. Su Junming stretched out his hand and made a move. The aura of the 8 treasures spirit pagoda rippled and slowly flew to the back of his head. Turning around, he looked at the middle-aged man walking from the palace step by step, wearing a dragon robe, with a sinister and crazy expression. You are finally willing to take action. His expression became cautious. Bronze mirrors can break illusions and preserve reality, and no one can hide anything from him. Therefore, as early as when he entered this imperial city, he had grasped the truth and falsehood in it. Although Shenlu and Eunuch Lu both had cultivation levels of the 2nd and 3rd levels of Yuan Shen, the real strong one was indeed the seemingly weak leader of Dao Kingdom. The secret hidden in his body must be dealt with even by Su Junming now. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 457. Yu Ye smiled faintly, the madness in his eyes gradually faded away, and the sinister look turned into calm. Condensed the young Taoist opposite. If you are willing, you can share the world with me. How about you being the national advisor and me being the master? Su Junming had a sarcastic smile on his face. There is no conspiracy between people. And I have never shared the world with a demon. But I am very curious. With your ability, you can easily kill these 2 idiots. Why do you still keep them? What are you playing with, Power Minister game? Yuya didn't answer the question. I asked myself that I didn't reveal any flaws. How did you see it? Before asking questions, you should answer other people's questions first. This is basic etiquette. Etiquette? Haha, since you said I am a devil. What kind of etiquette can a devil say? So, we have nothing to talk about anymore, Su Junming sighed slightly. No, I can answer you. After a pause, Yuye's face showed a sigh of relief. This world is really boring, and I always want to have some fun. What's more, with them here, I can enjoy the food without having to do anything, so why not? Food, Su Junming's face showed anger and murderous intent. My human babies are just delicacies in the mouth of a demon like you. Ha! Don't you humans often eat the babies of the demon clan? Roasted suckling pigs and hairy eggs are your specialties. They are just a group of unintelligent beasts, not intelligent and enlightened monsters. Haha, your 1-year-old babies of the human race are just like animals. They have no intelligence and do not understand the truth. Su Junming looked indifferent. It seems that in the end everyone has to rely on their own abilities. Of course. But you haven't answered the question I just asked. If you are better than me, it will never be too late to answer. With a wave of his hand, countless beige auras flew out, and after integrating into the space barrier, their intensity increased nearly 100 times. There is no limit to the void. A dream of yellow beams, 365 grains, 12 levels of spiritual treasures with complete restrictions. The combined power is undoubtedly the best in the world of Liuzai. Reach out and shake. The once stagnant Dharma realm quickly shrank inwards, squeezing directly towards the center. Yuya raised his head, his eyes filled with blue-black aura. I didn't expect there to be such a powerful spiritual treasure in this world. Su Junming frowned. He dreamed that the superposition of yellow beams was as powerful as an immortal weapon. And this person didn't even panic at all under such power. Yuya opened his left palm, and with a flash of spiritual light, a spiritual treasure similar to a cross appeared in his palm. This cross is gray-white in color, about the thickness of an adult's wrist, and the same color as human bones. The head of the cross directly above is a Bagua card, and the pole heads on the left and right sides are human skulls slightly larger than an adult fist. It is only about 1 foot 6 inches directly below, and the head is rather sharp, as if part of it is broken off. Yuya moved the cross and a vast aura of white bones rose into the sky. Yimen Huangliang, which was originally shrinking rapidly, was rushed by the bone aura. Although it did not break through, the speed of shrinking slowed down. Yuya frowned slightly and muttered. It's really troublesome. With a finger, extremely rich mana poured into the cross. The originally strong bone auras seemed to add fuel to the fire, and its power expanded several times. The vast spiritual light collided with the crystal wall of the Dharma realm, causing a loud explosion. The void law realm quickly shook. 365 grains of yellow rice emerged from the void, but in the end, it lived up to Su Junming's countless materials and hard work. Yimeng Huangliang withstood this powerful white bone aura. Seeing this scene, Yuye's expression finally became serious. Turning his head, he originally wanted to say a few words, but what he saw was Su Junming with excitement in his eyes. Following the other person's line of sight, he saw the cross in his hand. It seems that you have also noticed how extraordinary my baby is. Innate spiritual treasure, Su Junming said in a trembling voice. There was a hint of surprise on Yuye's face. I didn't expect that there are people in Fang Xiaoqian's world who have such knowledge. Yes, this is the innate spiritual root treasure. It's a pity that most of it is incomplete. If it were complete, although your spiritual treasure is mysterious, it can't stop it. Hit. Yuye sighed. Su Junming took a deep breath, suppressed the throbbing in his heart, pinched it with his fingers, and the ghostly white bone flag that was trembling in his dantian flew out instantly. Fierce black flags, automatic in the absence of wind, and vast netherworld energy soaring into the sky. Yu stared at the black flag in Su Junming's hand, his expression filled with disbelief, which soon turned into endless greed. The banner of the netherworld bone flag. Good boy, present the spiritual flag, and I will spare your life. While speaking, Yu, who had long been unable to hold himself back, rushed towards Su Junming like lightning. Facing the incoming enemy, Su Junming did not dodge or avoid. Earth Emperor Dao Hunyuan Seal. The powerful suction force spread, making Yu rush over at a much faster speed. However, the latter felt like he was bitten by a snake. He waved the cross, cut off the suction, and quickly retreated. Staring at Su Junming's dantian, the hill with the mighty spiritual light. What a powerful cave world. I was about to be sucked into this world just now, but I was afraid that I would be suppressed in an instant. Look at Su Junming visually. Boy, what is your relationship with the old ghost from Montenegro? Why is he willing to give you so many spiritual treasures? The old demon from Black Mountain has already been refined into the netherworld bone flag by me. Impossible. Yu retorted subconsciously. Su Junming didn't bother to argue. He grabbed the nether bone flag and waved it, and the vast nether chi surged over. Not to be outdone, Yu waved the cross in his hand, and the tyrannical bone energy, like a huge rolling wave, responded incessantly. One mysterious black, one grey-white, two tyrannical ghost bones essence, like two angry dragons, roaring and colliding with each other. Yu's cultivation level is better than that of Su Junming, but the power of the nether bone flag in Su Junming's hand is better than the bone cross in his hand. Boy, did the old ghost from Montenegro really die in your hands? If this were not the case, how could the netherworld bone flag, which he regards as life, fall into my hands? That's true. That old man is not a generous person. After saying this, he looked at Su Junming with a twinkle in his eye. Boy, how about we discuss it? Sorry, I just want to kill you now. He stretched out his hand and pointed, and a milky white aura disappeared into the nether bone flag. The cloth flag in his hand seemed to have taken a Shiquan Dabu pill, and its powerful aura instantly swelled. With a boom, the vast netherworld energy, like a volcano erupting, penetrated the clouds and split the sky, and rushed down towards Yu like lightning. The latter was shocked at the sight. The way of creation. Without any time to think, he pinched several seals like lightning and shouted angrily. Dark skull. Swish, Basho's big head soared into the sky. From its neck it grew in the wind and instantly became hundreds of feet tall. The huge head is like a small mountain, with iron wings and steel teeth, giant copper eyes, and unkempt black hair like giant pythons, swaying in the wind. While breathing, two strong winds pass through the air. Their momentum is extremely shocking. Look at my magic. Snored. In an instant, it was like the sound of thunder filling his ears. Su Junming felt his soul tremble, his 7 souls were far away, and his magic power was scattered. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yu, already carrying the cross, rushed towards Su Junming like lightning. Boom! A long black flag blocked the cross. How is it possible? You can actually resist my God confusion technique. Looking at Yu with an unbelievable look on his face, Su Junming was still frightened. If it hadn't been for the critical moment of bronze mirror just now, I wish he had stabilized his mind. I'm just afraid that he will be injured by the other party's God confusion technique. Of course, this is still related to his mastery of the soul. If not, this divine magic can directly knock down his soul. Are you the Black Demon? You, a junior, actually know my name. Su Junming had seen this person in the memory of the old demon from Black Mountain. The sound of hum was extremely sharp. Under the magic of confusing gods, unless there is a rare treasure to protect him, it will be difficult to defeat the immortals and demons under the Golden Immortal. In the original battle for the Netherworld White Bone Flag, the most important main flag was taken away by the Black Mountain Old Demon, and the remaining flagpoles were taken away by the Black Demon Taoist. The Old Demon of Montenegro had a profound influence on this person. He just changed his description, but Su Junming didn't recognize it. When he heard the sound of hum, there were only a few people who could master the unique spell of confusion. Su Junming didn't answer. He stretched out his hand and the Netherworld Bone Flag turned into several white bone arms. The thick white bone claws grasped the cross tightly. "It's not that easy to seize my Netherworld Bone Flag." Snort. The huge hum sound was like thunder, but it contained a strange power. Su Junming pinched a few seals, and his soul turned into a vase, blocking out all the power of falling souls. He is an expert in the soul path and is also good at the soul falling technique. The art of confusing gods is just a kind of soul losing art. Once you are prepared, it will be difficult to catch him off guard like the first time. Seeing this scene, the Black Demon Taoist's expression became ugly. The two methods he relied on most were unable to defeat Su Junming, and other skills would not have much effect. Thinking of this, I felt like leaving. Noticing the shift in his gaze, Su Junming understood instantly. This devil wants to escape. But he wasn't too worried. He hadn't used Yimen Huangliang just now, just to prevent the Black Demon Taoist from escaping. Now that you have used the Netherworld Bone Flag to contain this flagpole, let me see what other abilities you have. Void Dharma Realm. He stretched out his hand and grasped it, and the space barrier transformed by Yimen Huangliang shrank inward instantly. The Black Demon Taoist was shocked when he saw it. Just now, he had the ghost white bone flagpole that was comparable to an immortal weapon, so he could block this weird and powerful Hushan spiritual treasure. Now without this treasure, he is just a monk who can barely recover to the peak of his soul. Feeling the space barriers coming from all directions, he said quickly, "Stop, I have a shocking treasure to share with you." "Why do you always use this method when begging for mercy?" Su Junming shook his head. Not only did Yimen Huangliang not stop, it actually shrank faster. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 458. The Black Demon Taoist also felt his determination at this moment. "If you want me to die, I will die with you." The mountain-like giant of the Black Demon Taoist opened his mouth and sprayed blood straight towards Su Junming. A head that was similar to the Black Demon Taoist and was the size of a house took the lead. Before the head arrived, an extremely filthy air had already drifted over. Su Junming's face changed slightly, the fingers in his palms changed, and his lips opened slightly. Certainly. A powerful seal force swept across. The head and dirty blood solidified instantly. The giant of the Black Demon Taoist was restricted in his movement space by Su Junming's Yimen Huangliang, and had no way to hide. It was also instantly sealed by the sealing power. Of course, with Su Junming's current behavior, he still can't be blocked for too long. But with his methods, even just a moment is enough. He stretched out his hand and pointed, a bright sword energy and lightning flew past. 4 symbols cutting heaven sword. He has used a piece of innate spiritual material to train him to the pinnacle of spiritual treasures. He only needs to survive the catastrophe before he can advance to the 4-elephant sword array. The flags are inferior. Visible to the naked eye, a thin crack appeared on the Black Devil's giant body. From the top of the head to the chin, they are closely connected. At the same time, Su Junming also noticed that the huge force that originally competed with him for the cross faded instantly. The soul talisman was activated, and a thick iron rope was stretched into the Black Demon's giant body. Not long after, the 2 broken souls were caught back by his soul-binding rope. At this time, Su Junming breathed a sigh of relief. The soul is the essence of the human body. Without the soul, the body, no matter how powerful it is, is just a pile of meat rich in spiritual energy. Of course, he wasn't completely relaxed. The monks have various methods, especially those who have become immortals and demons like the Black Demon Taoist. He activated Yimeng Huangliang to seal the Black Demon Taoist, and then began to use mind reading to check the Black Demon Taoist's memory. As memories flashed by, everything finally became clear. Like the old Black Mountain Demon, the Black Demon Taoist captured the flagpole of the Netherworld Bone Flag, but was chased by nearly 100 true immortals who coveted the divine flag, as well as several powerful golden immortals. He had no choice but to escape from Chixian Shenzhou, and through the endless void, he finally got rid of the pursuit. Perhaps due to some mysterious fate, he, like the old demon from Montenegro, came to the world of Liuzai. However, he was much more seriously injured than the old Black Mountain Demon. In order to be targeted by him, he snatched the Netherworld Bone Flag and flagpole in his hand, so he escaped overseas, hid in the palace, and killed the original leader of Dao Kingdom. Sit on it. And Eunuch Lu and Shen Lu were also secretly trained by him. The purpose is not to have fun as he said before, but to be like raising pigs. After they are fattened, they will be slaughtered and eaten to replenish themselves. The Nine Suns Heavenly Demon God flag was the material he planned to use to repair the Netherworld Bone Flag. Just like the old demon from Montenegro practiced the banner pole again, he also planned to practice the banner face with the Nine Suns Demon banner. Unfortunately, before he could take action, he was killed by Su Junming here. It was fate, and he was not happy with his retribution. The Black Demon's Scripture. The magic of bewitching gods. The former is the main training method of the Black Demon Taoist, a magic method that can be practiced to the golden immortal realm. The latter was beyond Su Junming's expectation. It was not a complete set of exercises, but a fragment. Only the general outline and the first layer are relatively complete, half of the second layer is left, and the remaining third layer is lost. What a profound soul path technique! Su Junming watched with fascination. It's a pity that half of the method of cultivating the art of confusing gods is missing. But as long as this general outline is complete, he can gradually deduce the subsequent exercises through the bronze mirror. However, compared to this magic of confusing gods, what Su Junming values most is its profound soul content. It allowed him to see clearly the direction of the soul path. As for the magic of confusing gods, according to its content, it does not necessarily require a hum sound. That is to say, people like the Black Demon Taoist who do not have a deep understanding of the soul path have to take shortcuts and use external forces. If you master the soul path and make no sound, you can still knock down the enemy's soul. With a wave of his hand, a layer of space barrier was created to isolate the surrounding area. Take out the Netherworld Bone Flag that the Black Mountain Old Demon perfected, and the Black Demon Taoist's flagpole. After obliterating the Black Demon Taoist's soul that was placed in the flagpole, the two merged with each other instantly without Su Junming's urging. Roads of netherworld essence are boiling like electricity, and strips of white bone essence are as bright as water. With the fusion of the two treasures, the aura on the nether bone flag became stronger and stronger, and the light became more and more dazzling. An earth-shattering aura began to brew. Secretly saying no, he urged the Daihuang Mountain Cave Heaven to take the sacred flag into the Taiyuan Cave Heaven where Chongshan lived. The netherworld bone flag, which was brewed to the extreme, mixed with grey-white spiritual light into a giant pillar thousands of feet tall, rising into the sky like an erupting volcano. The roughly squeezed air formed a huge air explosion, shaking the heaven and earth. The huge palace treasure tree was also blown by the hurricane. The huge Taiyuan Cave Heaven was shaken for a moment by the impact of this powerful energy. After a long time, wait for everything to calm down. The pole is 1 foot and 9 feet high and 1 foot and 2 feet wide. It is about the thickness of an adult's arm and has a sharp lower end. The upper end is embedded with a bagua card the size of a sea bowl. On both sides of the pole, there are brackets with carved skulls. One side is 1 foot long and 9 feet wide. It is pitch black. Like ink, black flags occasionally flicker with gray-white aura, automatic in the absence of wind. The extremely powerful momentum was released wantonly, nearly twice as powerful as before. Su Junming was excited. This powerful innate spiritual treasure belongs to him. After a long time, I suppressed the excitement in my heart and carefully understood the changes in the netherworld bone flag. After a moment, he opened his eyes, which were full of excitement. 90% has been repaired. Seeing more than a dozen large and small holes and 3 cracks on the black flag, his excitement subsided a lot. After pondering for a moment, with a casual move, the dark demon Taoist soul flew out. Although the black demon Taoist has never fully recovered after falling into the world of Liazai, his soul is an out-and-out true immortal and residual god, with very high quality. It's useless to stay, go. The black demon Taoist remnant god flew into the netherworld with the bone flag. After being swallowed by it, the power of the divine flag became much stronger. After taking a look, he took out the 9 Suns heavenly demon god flag. Without its owner, it was easy for him to break through the restrictions in the middle of the magic flag. The so-called 9 Suns demon means 1 master and 9 assistants, with a total of 9 souls. The 9-faced spiritual flag is 81 souls. Excluding these 81 souls, the banner of the 9 Sons of Heavenly Demon God flag is made of the flesh and blood essence of countless infants, while the flagpole is made of countless human bones. It can be said that each 9 Sons Heavenly Demon flag is forged with the blood and tears of hundreds of thousands of innocent souls. Although Su Junming never uses the magic method to refine weapons, he will not waste all these spiritual materials in a pedantic manner. After breaking the restriction, 81 children's souls were left behind. The remaining sacred flags were all engraved into the netherworld bone flags. Visible to the naked eye, a fist-sized hole disappeared. The power of the nether bone divine flag has become much stronger. He stretched out his hand and held the banner in his hand. After putting his own mark on it, an indescribable strength surged into his heart. Su Junming felt a strong feeling in his heart, as if he could create heaven and earth and recreate the world just by shaking the sacred flag. Having practiced for many years, he knew that many monks would feel this way when they just break through the realm and increase their magic power. After some practice and mastering every ounce of mana, this feeling will subside. But this time is different. More than 90% of it has been repaired. In its perfect state, the low-grade innate spiritual treasure netherworld white bone banner is comparable to a perfect immortal weapon when driven by sufficient mana. It does have great power to create the world. But this kind of power is not aimed at the medium-sized worlds like Chixi and Shenzhou that can accommodate immortals, but the immortal free small thousand worlds such as Liazai world and Jushu world. But he can do it if he can, but Su Junming doesn't dare to do it unless he is willing to be hummed by a man. Lack of mana is really a big problem. After mastering the netherworld bone flag, he looked at the 81 evil heads imprisoned in the air by himself, and he frowned and shook the divine flag in his palm. With a flash of grey light, the Zhuzi Yingsha was pulled out. With this innate energy, the nether bone flag has grown to a certain extent. Wow wow! Without the 9 Sons Yingsha, the 81 demons regained their baby nature and burst into tears. Su Junming had a headache from so many dolls. But most of these children were pitiful people, and he wouldn't say anything. With a flick of his finger, a black hole appeared not far away, and all the babies flew into it. There is a ghost place in his Daihuang mountain, and these babies can be reincarnated here. He took out the magic bags of Shen Lu and Eunuch Lu. The contents inside were extremely filthy. Most of them were essences, blood, souls, ghosts, and filth that Su Junming had no use for. Seeing the souls that could be saved, he eliminated the hostility and entered the underworld under the Daihuang mountain. Let the netherworld bone flag swallow the extra to speed up its recovery. In another 10 years, Chongshan Academy will be able to produce a group of more talented disciples. Those who can be selected by Shenlu to be the main soul of the 9 sons of heavenly demon god banner are all 1 in a million. Although this time has gone through a catastrophe, it has also tempered the soul and made it stronger. Once reincarnated, the second life will definitely have outstanding talents and excellent talents. After thinking a little expectantly, he shook his head to suppress the thought. If you want to see the harvest, you have to wait at least 10 or even 20 years. He took out Yimen Huangliang, but the body of the black demon Taoist was still sealed in it. Su Junming, who had read his memory and knew that this person had no other backup plan, stretched out his hand and took back Yimen Huangliang. The nether bone flag in his hand absorbed his body with a shock, leaving only a brass bracelet. There is no one to preside over it, so the restriction in this bracelet that blocks people's consciousness will naturally become ineffective. Divine consciousness immersed, and a space of several thousand acres appeared in Su Junming's sea of consciousness. With the magic power, a sarcophagus 7 feet long, 4 feet wide and high flew out from the storage bracelet. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 459. There were many restrictions in the ancient sarcophagus, and even with Su Junming's knowledge, he was shocked by them. And in addition to the restrictions on the sarcophagus itself, there are also 3 spiritual talismans affixed to its surface. Su Junming, who is proficient in seals, quickly understood their function. What on earth could set up such a powerful seal? Didn't open it hastily. Acting on the bronze mirror, layers of previous barriers were peeled away in front of him. Everything inside the sarcophagus was exposed to the eyes. Contrary to his expectations, there were no trolls or monsters inside, nor was there any danger of an outbreak. Instead, it was a ball of bright white Xiantian Tai fundamental sword qi the size of a water tank. The Tai level of fundamental qi is second only to Taishu and Taiji among the 5 innate Taiki, and higher than Taishi and Taisu. It belongs to the 3rd level. Except for the innate Taiki and 5 elements fundamental qi in the Dragon Emperor's body, this is the most powerful thing he has ever seen. Strong innate fundamental energy. One thing that needs to be emphasized is that fundamental qi is different from ordinary innate qi. Fundamental qi contains good fortune, which can continuously transform acquired spiritual energy into innate qi. But ordinary innate energy does not have this ability. Therefore, every kind of innate fundamental qi is extremely precious. Back to the subject, in the memory of the black demon Taoist, Su Junming did not see how the other party obtained this sword energy. However, he was not surprised. After killing the soul of the black demon Taoist with the 4-elephant sword formation, many memories were lost. If the technique was not related to his wealth and life, but the deepest memory in his soul, he might not be able to obtain the complete black demon scripture and the magic of confusing gods. If I can integrate the sword energy into my 4-symbol sword formation, not only will its potential be greatly increased, but I won't be afraid of it even if I have to go through the immortal tribulation now. Before his excitement subsided, he noticed something abnormal in the innate sword energy of Tai. A faint consciousness appeared in the sword energy. Lingzi, is this an innate god? Su Junming was a little unbelievable. He had read a record about the innate gods in the records of the ancient gods collected by the Longjiang Shui tribe. Based on the innate spiritual energy, the spirits transformed from heaven and earth are the innate gods. There are strong and weak innate gods. The strong ones are like the legendary Nuwafuxi and Sanking. The weaker ones are nameless. The innate spirit sealed in the sarcophagus at this moment is one of the relatively weak ones. But even so, innate gods are innate gods after all. Bred by heaven and earth, favored by heaven and earth, he is born with great luck, and his qualifications far exceed those of witches, demons, humans, ghosts, and other innate creatures. The mirror light penetrated the thick innate Taisu fundamental sword energy, and a sword-shaped intelligence appeared in his eyes. Seeing this, he wanted to give up, but an inconspicuous black aura stopped him from speaking. Su Junming was stunned. He knew that the bronze mirror would never go wrong, so he activated his light and looked into the depths of the innate spirit. Soon, a black lotus the size of a fingertip appeared in front of him. This lotus flower is incompatible with the surrounding sword energy, but it is closely connected. After thinking for a moment, he raised his eyebrows and found the answer instantly. The great method of Black Devil transformation. It seems that the devil kept this innate spirit for the purpose of seizing its body. The Black Devil transmutation method is a method of seizing the body recorded in the Black Devil scripture. Compared with the ordinary method of seizing the body, this Black Demon transmutation method can plant a Black Devil in the original soul of the body. Spiritual seed. This Black Demon species absorbs the soul essence of the host to grow until it matures, completes the final devouring, and successfully seizes the body. This slow and deliberate method of seizing the body has fewer consequences than rough devouring, and the physical body after the body is captured is also more suitable. If Su Junming doesn't care, the Black Demon spirit seed will gradually grow and eventually succeed in seizing the body. I've killed the Black Devil himself, how could I leave any trouble behind? He took off the 3 sealing talismans affixed to the surface of the sarcophagus, waved the Netherworld Bone flag in his hand, and the tyrannical Netherworld Bone spiritual energy pressed down, and the sealing restrictions on the sarcophagus collapsed instantly. With a bang, the powerful AncientTimes sword energy broke through the sarcophagus, rising from it like the newborn sun. Even with the protection of the Taoist robe, Su Junming still felt a stabbing pain involuntarily on his body. What a powerful innate Tai sword energy! Su Junming was amazed in his heart. It's just that the sword energy emitted by the innate spirit unintentionally is so powerful. If he waits for him to successfully transform and become an immortal, he still doesn't know how powerful it will be. After calming down, he waved the Netherworld Bone flag in his hand, and strands of Netherworld Bone chi flew tentatively towards the body of the innate spirit that had not yet transformed. As if he sensed the danger, the originally calm sword energy suddenly expanded. The Netherworld White Bone chi activated by Su Junming was quickly cut into pieces. He frowned. I can't cure you yet. Point your finger. There was a dong sound, a voice like a yellow bell and a big lu, with a powerful soul-dropping power, instantly suppressing the soul of the innate god who was not strong. The white bones of the netherworld penetrated deeply and quickly swallowed up the black lotus. Looking at the remaining sword-shaped soul, he hesitated for a moment. That's it? Sighing, he summoned the nether bones chi back. Although this large group of innate Tai sword energy has a huge impact on the promotion of the 4-symbol sword formation. But it is no longer a dead thing, but has derived a soul and become an innate god that has never been transformed. The innate spirit is favored by heaven and earth, and killing him will undoubtedly create great cause and effect. Moreover, killing an innate being with meritorious deeds for no reason also goes against Su Junming's principles. Now that the spiritual treasure in my hand is enough to be used in this world, getting this innate Tai sword energy is just the icing on the cake. Shaking his head, he stretched out his hand and the broken stones quickly gathered together and turned into a stone lotus. The right hand claps down to seal this innate spirit into the lotus. After thinking for a while, he took out a dragon-shaped sword from the magic bag. This sword is the Tianlong sword he got from Aokon, the leader of the Longjiang water tribe. A spiritual treasure that has completed the 12 levels of spiritual imprisonment. He tossed it casually and threw the Tianlong sword into the lotus. When the Hushan magic talisman was activated, a deep cave appeared in front of him. With a wave of his sleeve, the stone lotus flowers flew in and quickly disappeared. Thousands of miles away in Lanruo Temple, Yan Shixia, who was sitting in the main hall meditating in the palm of the golden Buddha, seemed to notice something and suddenly opened her eyes. The solid gaze was like 2 rays of cold electricity, fleeting away. He patted the Dharma bag on his waist, and a black talisman floated out. The talisman flashed with light and soon turned into a black hole the size of a water tank. After a short time, an echeveria flower as big as the mouth of a bowl flew out. A spiritual light fell to the ground and turned into Su Junming's phantom. Yan Chixia jumped off the golden lotus and bowed to salute. Yan Chixia pays homage to Master. Su Junming's Yuan Shen projection looked at his four disciples and nodded with satisfaction. Your cultivation has improved again. Thanks to the spiritual elixir given by Master, Yan Chixia can make rapid progress. There is no need to be so restrained, and there is no need to belittle yourself. Without your hard work, no matter how good the elixir is, it will be useless. With a wave of his hand, the stone lotus slowly flew down in front of Yan Chixia with a string of spiritual light. Feel it with your spiritual consciousness. Yan Chixia nodded and followed her words. Innate Tai origin sword chi. Yan Chixia exclaimed. Ever since he became a disciple of Su Junming, his horizons have been broadened thanks to his teacher's rich collection of books. No, how can a soul exist? He frowned and looked at Su Junming. Teacher, is this a demon? Su Junming shook his head and said, this is the innate spirit. Innate gods. Being transformed from heaven and earth, born with the innate energy, they are innate gods. This generation is uniquely blessed. Not only is he blessed with great luck, but he also has outstanding cultivation talents, which are far better than the acquired souls like us. Su Junming nodded. This time I traveled to the East China Sea and accidentally obtained this innate god who was still in the state of pregnancy in Dao Kingdom. I left it to you as it is useless. He didn't mention the dark demon Taoist, and there would be no further follow-up matters, which was unintentional. Yan Chixia is also a smart person. Listening to her teacher's tone and looking at the innate gods in the stone lotus, it is obvious that they belong to the swordsmanship. Teacher, do you want me to be its master? Su Junming smiled and nodded. Now your senior brother and second senior brother are not in this world, let's not talk about it. Your third senior sister now has a disciple named Gongsun Juniang. If nothing happens, Ning Keichin will also join your third senior sister's disciple. You, the fifth junior sister, have sisters from the Fu family who have inherited the Taoist tradition, so you are still the only one who has inherited the Taoist tradition. It just so happens that this innate god shares the swordsmanship, and is also an innate god. He has excellent qualifications and a profound foundation, which is suitable for passing on your Taoist tradition. Master, the third senior sister has cultivated the Tao of creation and has a profound realm. The fifth junior sister has not yet transformed, but is only a Dharma body and has the realm of the soul. Compared with them, the disciple is only at the 9th stage of the Yuan Ying, and his cultivation is low. You should practice hard. Where will you find the time to teach your disciples? Yan Chixia said with a bitter smile. The way of cultivation is to relax. You practice hard every day. Although your spirit is commendable, if you tighten yourself too much, it will be of no benefit to your cultivation. It is better to spend some time to teach this disciple. It just so happens that it is just beginning to become smart, like a child of 2 or 3 years old. It is not difficult to teach it. Moreover, teaching is also learning. This process is also a process for you to sort out what you have learned and consolidate your abilities. And during this period, your cultivation has progressed too fast, and your understanding of the sword has fallen behind. Your foundation is not strong. If it goes on for a long time, even if you can reach the perfection of nascent soul, you will not be able to survive the catastrophe. After a pause. Do you understand? Yan Chixia pondered for a moment and then nodded. Disciple understands. I will leave him to you. He will teach you well and he will be your first disciple in the future, Su Junming said with a smile. After that, the projection of the soul disappeared into the space channel and disappeared. The light of the Hushan talisman converged and fell into Yan Chixia's hands. Putting away the magic talisman, Looking at the shimmering stone lotus in mid-air, he sighed slightly. It doesn't matter, from now on we and I will depend on each other. Shi Lian seemed to understand his words, and with a faint aura, she fell into Yan Xixia's palm. Haha, I didn't expect him to be such a good boy. The depression in my heart about being a disciple who was forced to do something by my own teacher disappeared a lot in an instant. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 460. Chapter 453 Five-Colored Soil. Not to mention what happened after Yan Xixia accepted her disciple, Su Junming returned to the cave of Daihuang Mountain and continued to explore the storage bracelet of the Black Demon Taoist. Soon, a bronze gong the size of a wash basin appeared in the palm of his hand. A centipede-like thin crack almost split the gong into 2 parts. There is no doubt that this is a useless weapon. In addition, from this gong, Su Junming felt the remaining soul of the Black Demon Taoist. Black Sound Gong. The Black Demon Taoist's natal immortal weapon was severely damaged in the battle to snatch the Netherworld Bone Flag. Later, he escaped to this Liazai world. It lacked materials and spiritual energy, and it has never been completely repaired. After hundreds of years, even though the Black Demon Taoist worked hard to conceive, the grade of this gong fell away uncontrollably. What was once a middle-grade fairy weapon is now a low-grade fairy weapon, and it is still a broken low-grade fairy weapon. If it is ignored, it will fall into a spiritual treasure in another 200 to 300 years. Although Su Junming looked down upon this magical artifact, it was still an immortal artifact anyway. He planned to use his weapon refining skills to see if he could repair this treasure. Complete repair is impossible, because even the concentration of spiritual energy in the Daihuang Mountain cave sky cannot meet the standards for completely repairing an immortal weapon. But I can take this opportunity to hone my weapon refining skills. Although it was just a demonic weapon that was not in line with his practice, the restrictions and techniques for refining it were all at the level of an immortal weapon, which was beyond his level of refining and had strong reference significance. In addition to the black tone gong, there are still some materials left in the storage bracelet. There are no fairy-level materials, just inside-level spiritual materials collected by some black demon Taoists after they came to this world. I don't think he would like even lower-level materials. The most precious of these materials are 19 grains of 5-color soil. The 5 colors of earth and the 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth are gathered together. It is a rare spiritual object with the 5 elements gathered together, and it is most suitable for cultivating spiritual objects. After tens of thousands of years of accumulation in the Dragon Palace's treasure house, Su Junming only got 4 pills. He didn't expect to get so many here. This is an unexpected surprise. Put the remaining spiritual materials in the storage bracelet into the treasure house by category. With a flick of his hand, the netherworld white bone flag in his right hand turned into a spiritual light and disappeared into the Danshan. Su Junming had gained a lot, with a look of satisfaction on his face. He walked to the backyard with his hands behind his back and looked at the spiritual island in the creation spiritual pond. He opened his palms and saw 19 grains of soil, surrounded by 5-color auras, slowly rising up. Go! With a throw of his right hand, 19 spiritual lights disappeared into the spiritual island. In an instant, a 5-color brilliance exploded, and on the creation spirit island, which was already rich in spiritual energy, the total amount of spiritual energy increased steadily, becoming nearly 40% stronger than before. The various spiritual roots planted in it, the branches and vines are swaying, and the spiritual light is shining, like dancing, giving off an atmosphere of joy. A red flame spiritual bamboo shoot was stimulated by the spiritual energy and grew rapidly. It soon grew taller and turned into a spiritual bamboo. Not far from it, A flat peach tree also instantly covered its branches with flowers. All the spiritual roots in this island have benefited a lot from this sudden improvement and stabilization of spiritual energy. Su Junming nodded with satisfaction and left Daihuang Mountain. Kuei Niu and Hego had completed the tasks assigned by him and came over. Master, all members of the Shen family who are guilty of sin will be put to death. Su Junming nodded. You should go back to Daihuang Mountain first. Master, aren't we leaving here? Black Dog asked. I beheaded the leader of Dao Kingdom. If I leave right now, this country will definitely fall into war and countless people will die. If so, it will be my sin. Therefore, I will stay temporarily and stabilize this country first. And then leave. Su Junming shook his head. After that, he transformed into Yu Yet. Ever since he learned the 36 transformations of Tiangang, ordinary transformation techniques were no longer difficult for him. When Kuei Niu and Hego saw this scene, their eyes almost popped out. If they hadn't confirmed that Su Junming's aura had not changed, they would have suspected that their master had been impersonated. Kuei Niu was delighted when he saw that he was hunting and rubbed his hands. Sir, will you teach me the 36 transformations of Tiangang? Don't worry, sir, I will definitely work hard to practice. Glanced at it. Whenever you improve your understanding of Thunder Dao to the perfection of Yuan Shen realm, I will pass on this set of techniques to you. When Kuei Niu heard this, the smile on his face instantly faded and he became listless. Its current understanding of Thunder Dao is just that of a new soul, and if it wants to reach its peak, even with its qualifications, it will take 100 years, or even longer. Black Dog also wants this handsome technique. If he really learns it, it will become easier to pass on the family lineage. Lately, it's been a bit restless. However, seeing Kuei Niu's fate, Black Dog wisely did not ask for the technique. Its cultivation level is only in the late stage of Xiantian, and it is still far away from the golden elixir, let alone the soul. Time is like running water, no one knows the year when it is cold. In the blink of an eye, Su Junming has been the leader of Dao Kingdom for 3 years. In 3 years, he straightened out the situation in Dao and transferred the extra population that Dao had encouraged to have children in the past few years to Taishi Cave, eliminating the zero-sum game that the dynasty had been experiencing for 300 years. From then on, the throne was passed on to the adult crown prince. After 2 years as the crown prince, he felt that his merits were complete and he was ready to leave. The Tao can be Tao, but it is very Tao, the name can be named, but it is very famous. In the palace with simple decorations, Su Junming wrote famous lines from the Tao Te Ching with a stroke of ink. Just as he was about to continue, he stopped after hearing footsteps approaching from far away. Not long after, a tall, handsome young man, about 17 or 18 years old, wearing a dragon robe, stepped in. Your Majesty, see your father. I glanced at him, picked up the calligraphy and put it aside, and asked at the same time. If you don't handle state affairs up front, why do you come to my place? Your Majesty heard from his mother that his father had been in seclusion in Taiyuan Palace for 3 months without leaving the house. He was a little worried, so he came over to take a look. You see, it's good to be a father. You can go back. Su Junming, who changed into Yu Ye's appearance, said calmly. My father is in good health, and my son is happy. Today is the Mid-Autumn Festival, and it is a day for family members. Therefore, I would like to invite my father to the Frost Flower Palace to have a dinner with my mother and me. I understand, go ahead. The young emperor responded and did not leave. He looked up at Su Junming, the scrutiny in his eyes clear. Father, the emperor has something you don't know whether to ask or not. Don't you already have the answer? All those who say should ask or not are actually already asking. The face of the young emperor changed slightly. Under Su Junming's guidance over the years, he had a decisive character, wise character. Now that his mind was pointed out, he didn't hesitate anymore. The emperor has always had a doubt in his heart. Why did his father's personality change so much 5 years ago? Before that, his father rarely interfered with political affairs. Su Junming said calmly, "Didn't I already tell you the reason? But the prince always feels that there is something fishy in it. You do not trust me. Your Majesty doesn't dare. I know what you want to ask. But you can't look back on the past. The most important thing for a person is to live well in the present. And the most important thing at the moment is that you, the Emperor of the Yu Kingdom, need to work hard to govern so that the people can live and work in peace and contentment. Other things, the past is the past." Just as the young emperor was about to continue, Su Junming waved his hand. "Okay, go ahead. I'm tired." There was hesitation on his face, and he nodded after a moment. "Your Majesty, please retire." Looking at his leaving figure, Su Junming smiled faintly. This son is very alert and courageous. But with him here, the Yu Kingdom is finally stable. He threw away the pen in his hand and looked up at the palace where he had stayed for 2 years. "It's time to go." Along with the sigh, the figure gradually blurred. Arriving outside the city, Su Junming transformed into his original appearance, activated his magic power, and summoned Kuei Niu and Black Dog out of Daihuang Mountain. 5 years have passed, and Kuei Niu's magic power and Taoism have not improved much, but the Black Dog, fed by his elixir, has now entered the golden elixir realm. However, it still has not transformed, but the bloodline of the ghost dog is stronger. "Master, are we leaving?" Kuei Niu said. Su Junming moved the bronze mirror, looked at the merits falling slowly above his head, smiled and nodded. In recent years, he has managed the country of Deu in a prosperous manner. The people live and work in peace and contentment, and of course he has earned a lot of merit. He raised his bamboo stick and struck it, and Kuei Niu turned into an ordinary green bull. Su Junming jumped on it. Gone. As the sun sets, the figures of a man, a cow, and a dog become longer and longer, gradually disappearing at the end of the road. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 461. Chapter 454, Wooding Island in the East China Sea. Boom. The collision between water and water is extremely fierce. However, there was no trace of pride on Qian Sen's face. Through his spiritual consciousness, he looked at the huge sea snake chasing after him, with a look of unlucky look on his face. "TMD, didn't I just take a piece of jade dragon grass from you? I didn't remove the root for you, so why are you chasing after me?" Before he could even finish his thoughts, he felt the aura of water behind him that was instantly denser several times. His face changed, and he activated his mana fiercely, and a water blue shield appeared behind his head. At this moment, the sea snake opened its mouth and sprayed out, and the water arrow, which was more than 10 feet high, hit the shield like lightning. The deafening sound sounded again. The strong shock made Qian Sen's face turn pale. He staggered a few steps and almost knelt down. "Damn it!" After watching the distance shrink by a few feet, his face became even more ugly. His cultivation level is already lower than that of the sea snake, and coupled with the magic power of demons, it is generally higher than that of humans of the same level. If he really wanted to bring that beast closer, I'm afraid he, Qian Sen, would only be used as food rations for others. "That little thief, if you can't catch me now, I may consider letting you live. If you don't surrender, I will catch you later and I will kill you without mercy. You, if you really surrender, I'm afraid you stupid snake will swallow Master Dao in one bite. In a few days, Master Dao will turn into shit and be pulled out of your dirty ass." Shout out the vulgar words, and the chaste wolf will run away, and the depression accumulated in the chest will dissipate a lot. "You brat, I'll let you have fun for a while, and let's see how I catch up with you and how I'll deal with you. The snake demon swung its giant tail, and its huge body rushed straight towards Jiansen like lightning. Feeling the threat coming closer and closer behind him, Jiansen used all his strength to suck the breast. Oh my god, I finally broke through the golden elixir, but before I could enjoy the glory of a golden elixir monk, did I die on the sea just because of a jade dragon grass? Jiansen thought desperately. Suddenly, a strange light flashed across his eyes. He quickly looked in the direction of the strange light. Because of the distance, we can't see clearly yet. But in this empty sea, basically no matter where you look, the color is the same. If there is an accident, it is not the island. Boat. Jiansen's eyes lit up instantly. As long as there are ships, there are people. In order to avoid the threat of sea monsters, basically every ship on the East China Sea that dares to sail on the open sea has a golden elixir, and even nascent soul monks are holding the line. Although he was not sure whether the golden elixir on the ship would offend a 7th level golden elixir snake demon for him, at least it was a hope for him to survive. Quickly turn the escape light and fly straight to the left. As the distance got closer, he could see more and more clearly. That strange light was not a boat at all, but a green bull. On the green bull's back sat cross-legged a young Taoist priest wearing a green robe, holding a green bamboo staff in his right hand, and a green gourd hanging from his waist. Purple clouds grew under the feet of the green ox. With one step, it was hundreds of feet tall. The young Taoist priest sits on the back of the bull, exuding a calm and mountain-like temperament against the backdrop of the turbulent waves. Jiansen quickly flew over. Although it was not the sea-going ship that he had expected, it was clear from a glance that this awesome man was an extraordinary person. Brother Dao, help! Shouting at the top of his lungs, Jiansen used all his strength to fly forward. When he saw the person, the snake demon behind him naturally saw it too. As a result of the mutual hatred between the human and demon tribes in the East China Sea for a long time, it was instantly on guard and its speed could not help but slow down a bit. Feeling that the threat behind him was getting further and further away, Jiansen was shocked, and his tense nerves instantly relaxed a lot. He quickly flew 3 feet away from Su Junming and bowed to the end. Jiansen, a casual cultivator from Beiyu Kingdom, has met his senior. Although this person's attitude was respectful, Su Junming didn't have a good impression of him who caused trouble to the east. However, although this person does not have much merit, he also does not have much resentment. Pat the gourd on your waist. A strong suction force enveloped the sea snake that was 100 feet away and was watching the situation. The Lingbao level green gourd was captured instantly without giving it a chance to resist. Seeing this scene, Jiansen felt his scalp numb. Chasing him high into the sky and into the earth, with no way to escape, the snake demon at the 7th level of the golden elixir was captured without any resistance. This person's cultivation level is at least in the middle stage of nascent soul. Thinking of this, the look on his face became more respectful. However, his expression soon changed. Sensed by his spiritual consciousness, an astonishing breath was rushing towards him from the ocean beneath his feet. Not good. He quickly retreated, activated his spiritual weapon, and was ready to go, his eyes fixed on the sea. Wow! The waves rose dozens of feet high, and a black stream of light rushed out as fast as lightning. In Jiansen's nervous gaze, a black stream of light fell, revealing a large dog nearly 3 feet long and 9 feet tall. This dog has black hair all over its body, as if dyed with ink. The eyes are like the mouth of a bull, with a faint green glow. His ears were raised high, and behind his ears and between his neck, there were 4 bulges on each side, for a total of 8 bulges as big as a child's fist. In the mouth of the dog with thick white teeth, there was a sea fish that was as big as 5 feet. No matter how hard the big fish struggled, it could not break free from the iron wings and steel teeth. Scarlet fish blood flowed down the dog's mouth, dyeing the black hair red, revealing a terrifying evil aura. The big dog opened its mouth and unleashed its tyrannical swallowing power. The sea fish that was originally larger than itself was shattered inch by this powerful swallowing power and turned into flesh and blood and was swallowed into its belly. With a shake, the fish blood stained by it was thrown away. The dog, eyes flashing with green light, looked towards Qian Senator. The moment he was locked by this gaze, a chill rose from the bottom of his heart. He shuddered involuntarily, and looked at the black dog with a little more eyes. Fear. Master, who is this boy? Black Dog asked. Just a passerby, don't worry about it. How is the matter entrusted to you? Hey, don't worry, sir. Those piranhas have already entered my stomach. Su Junming nodded slightly. Let's go. After finishing his words, Su Junming glanced at Jian Sen. The snake demon is dead, you can go on your own. As soon as the words fell, Su Junming urged Kuei Niu, and his figure disappeared instantly. The black dog also withdrew his gaze, followed with a flash of black light. Seeing the group of people walking away, Jian Sen felt relieved. However, it can also be seen from the brief exchange just now that the Taoist priest in green is not a villain. After thinking about this clearly, Jian Sen, who was already being chased by the snake demon, didn't want to cross the vast sea alone at this moment. Gritting his teeth, he quickly urged Dun Guang to catch up. Aha! A black stream of light flew over, and a black dog wrapped in ghostly evil energy blocked Jian Sen's way. Boy, what do you want to do? Captured by its momentum, Jian Sen subconsciously took a few steps back. After coming back to his senses, he looked at Su Junming in front of him and shouted quickly. Senior? Senior? Senior is going to Wooding Island to attend the white-haired fairy's sermon? Junior is going there too. If Senior doesn't dislike it, Junior is willing to lead the way for Senior. White-haired fairy. What appeared in Su Junming's mind was a red-faced and white-haired woman wearing gee and holding a mulberry stick. Back in the Dragon Palace of the Longjiang aquatic tribe, he had a few encounters with the white-haired fairy Yunmei. This woman has profound merits and has a close relationship with her fifth disciple, Su Huang. Now that you're here, you might as well take a walk. Thinking of this, he turned his head. Hefeng, let him come over. Yes, sir. The black dog moved out of the way. Go over. But don't try to play any tricks, or Mr. Dog will twist your head off. Don't dare, don't dare. After carefully bypassing the evil black dog, Jian Sen quickly came to stand 3 feet away from Su Junming. Bow again. Jian Sen pays homage to Senior. Su Junming nodded slightly. Do you know the location of Wooding Island? Seeing that things had turned around, Jian Sen, who was feeling anxious, nodded quickly. I know, I know. Yunxiang's preaching conference is held every 10 years. I have participated in it 4 times. I am very familiar with the path of Wooding Island. Lead the way. Jian Sen looked happy and quickly walked to the front. Senior, we are already 800 miles away from Fiyu Island. Go past Fiyu Island, 3,200 miles to the southeast, and you will find Wooding Island. Su Junming nodded, and with a wave of his hand, Jian Sen was pinched by a flash of light, and the bamboo stick struck the green ox. Go faster. Hey, sir, sit down. Chi La, a dazzling electric arc emerged from Kuei Niu's body surface. The powerful electric light tore through the air, and Kuei Niu's escape speed instantly increased by more than 10 times. Thunder and lightning, the speed of thunder escape is the fastest among all escape methods. For a distance of more than 4,000 miles, it might take 2 or 3 hours for an ordinary Jindan cultivator to escape, but under the feet of Kuei Niu, the Yuanshen Lei cultivator, it only takes a quarter of an hour. Looking at the lush green ahead, it looks like a huge emerald, a large island covering hundreds of miles. This is Wooding Island. At this time, Qian Sen was still immersed in the previous rush and was in a daze. Su Junming frowned, curled his fingers, and a ray of spiritual light disappeared into Qian Sen's sea of consciousness, as if a basin of cold water was poured down on him. After trembling for a while, he calmed down instantly. This is a little trick he learned after comprehending the magic of the gods, which can calm his mind and get rid of evil spirits. Looking at the island not far away, Qian Sen nodded quickly. "Senior, this is Wooding Island." After that, he secretly glanced at the leisurely-looking Kuei Niu next to him. He saw nothing but the speed that shocked him along the way. There is also the huge magic power displayed by this cow when it activates the thunder. It has at least the late nascent soul stage, or even perfect cultivation. Qian Sen, who had just broken through the golden elixir, couldn't even distinguish the 12 smaller realms of the golden elixir realm, let alone the nascent soul. As for the Yuan Shen, that belongs to legend and is beyond his ability to understand. The perfection of nascent soul is now the limit of his reasoning ability. Even so, the nascent soul cultivator here is also an unimaginable superpower. Su Junming nodded and urged the green bull to fly towards Wooding Island. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 462. The closer you get, the more monks are around you. There were not only the golden elixirs that came flying, but also the innate monks who came by boat. It is different from Su Junming's imagination of an overseas Qingxia place with a quiet environment and no human habitation. On this Wooding Island, although it cannot be said to be densely populated, there are still many towns. Moreover, a pier has been opened on the shore to communicate with the outside world. Noticing Su Junming's gaze, Qian Sen glanced at the towns on the island, his heart moved, and he spoke. Wooding Island was originally just a place of spiritual cultivation for the white-haired fairy. Later, when the fairy was traveling, she rescued many people who fell into the sea. There was nowhere to resettle them, so she put them on Wooding Island. Over the course of hundreds of years, over time, the scale it has now. Moreover, many overseas monks have devoted themselves to seeking Taoism. After seeking the immortal lady's permission, they also settled on Wooding Island. Over the years, this place has become more and more prosperous. Su Junming nodded. This guy is really discerning. Where is the sermon? There is a large lake covering hundreds of acres in the center of Wooding Island, called Julan Lake. Xianggu planted many starlight white lotus in Julan Lake. This lotus is a top-grade spiritual seed from Dongxian. The lotus leaves are more than 3 feet tall and the lotus is as big as a wheel. It blooms once every 10 years. Whenever it blooms, it is the time for the fairy to preach. At that time, everyone can sit on this starlight, moon, and lotus leaf and listen to the sermon. After a pause and a glance at Su Junming, Qian Sen continued. Senior, there is a new island in the center of Gulan Lake, and the white-haired fairy practices on that island. In addition, there are restrictions set by the fairy on Wooding Island. Unless you use this Wooding port, you can't enter. No fixed island. Then let's go in from this harbor. Su Junming nodded and said. The green bull was urged to fall on the harbor. In this world of immortal cultivation, Su Junming is not the only monk who comes to control beasts, so he is not conspicuous. But the moment he landed at the port, his expression changed slightly. Qian Sen, who had been paying attention to him, was keenly aware of this change. Senior, what's wrong? Su Junming waved his hand, and a porcelain bottle flew over. There are three yellow pills that I refined in this. After taking it, it will be enough to take your cultivation one step closer. Qian Sen looked happy after taking it. Thank you, Senior, for your generous gift. Su Junming nodded slightly. Wooding Island has arrived. Our fate has ended. You can go on your own. After the words fell, the figure gradually blurred, and the green cow and black dog also disappeared. Looking at the direction in which Su Junming disappeared, Qian Sen felt lost. The senior's cultivation just now was obviously extremely high. He originally planned to find an opportunity to become a disciple, but he didn't expect that the other party didn't give him a chance at all. Fortunately, it's not all without gain. He looked around with a stern look and quickly found a quiet place. After seeing that there was no one around, he removed the stopper, put it to the tip of his nose and took a whiff. A scent like orchid and musk rushed into his nose, and his spirit was instantly lifted, and the magic power in his danshan seemed to be much more lively. Qian Sen is also a knowledgeable person, and his eyes lit up instantly. Good stuff. At least it's a top-grade elixir from Dongxian. The regret of losing the opportunity to become a disciple disappeared in an instant. He quickly put the stopper on the bag and put it in the magic bag. After looking around and seeing that no one was paying attention, he put his hands behind his back and walked toward the pier with 8-figure steps. This is an island about a dozen acres in size, surrounded by green trees, flowers of all colors blooming, butterflies dancing around, and bees flying around. A stream several feet wide flows out from a small spring in the center of the island, meandering and gurgling. Not far from the east side of the spring, there is a bamboo forest surrounding a 2-story bamboo house. The clear and pleasant sound of the piano comes from the bamboo tower, and its gentleness reveals a power to soothe people's emotions. Bah! Crisp applause rang out from the palms of a beautiful woman wearing a white dress, with a cold face and a tall figure. Sister's playing skills are indeed exquisite. Wearing a lavender robe, the woman with a beautiful face and white hair took back her hands and smiled faintly. My sister, I'm very proud of you. Although my piano skills are melodious and pleasant to the ears, they are just ordinary skills. I have never reached the level of music and have not reached the level of elegance, the white-haired woman sighed regretfully. When manpower is limited, if you can master something and achieve something, you can already be regarded as a first-rate genius. After glancing at him, the white-haired woman smiled and said, My sister is wrong. My master is not proficient in ice, pot, puppet, sword, weapon refining and other Taoist techniques, and he is extremely proficient in them all. The woman in white smiled faintly. My master's talent is unparalleled, and no one in the world can match it. The white-haired woman nodded in agreement, with a hint of memory in her eyes. Your honorable master is indeed the most talented monk I have ever seen. Whoosh! The clear and joyful phoenix call came from the sky. The two of them subconsciously looked up in the air. They saw 2 cyan eagles and a purple eagle chasing each other, chirping continuously. Occasionally, a girl's clear laughter could be heard faintly. It seems they get along well, the white-haired woman smiled. We are about the same age, and the child in Yuechi is lively by nature. With her around, I won't be lonely. The white-haired woman nodded. When he turned his head and was about to say something, his best friend next to him suddenly stood up, his expression also showing excitement. What's wrong with my sister? She rarely saw her close friend, who had always been indifferent, look like this. My master is here. The white-haired woman was stunned when she heard this and said quickly. Master Chongshan has arrived at Wooding Island. Su Huang nodded vigorously, and with a push of magic power, the light flew up and quickly disappeared from the spot. The white-haired woman also quickly urged Dun Guang to catch up. At this time, Su Junming, who was riding a Kuei Niu and strolling on Wooding Island, watching the scenery on the island, was moved in his heart and looked up towards the center of the island. When he first entered Wooding Island, he noticed the presence of Su Huang. The Hushan talisman given by him, in addition to the use of various spaceways, also has a positioning function. As soon as he entered Wooding Island, he noticed Su Huang's Hushan talisman. Now that the distance between the two is getting closer, she also feels her presence. 2 streams of light appeared in the distance and arrived in front of them in the blink of an eye. After landing, She transformed into a beautiful female cultivator dressed in white with excitement in her expression. Behind him, there followed the white-haired fairy Yunmei, who was wearing purple clothes and had a red face and white hair. Disciple Su Huang pays homage to his mentor. May his mentor be safe. Su Huang Yingying prostrate. Looking at his beloved disciple, Su Junming also had a smile on his face. No need to be polite, little Huang get up. Thank you, master. Yunmei pays homage to Master Chongshan. Su Junming turned his head. Fellow Taoist Yun, there is no need to be polite. Accompanied by the sound of the phoenix, 3 streams of light flew quickly. Circling in the sky, 3 phoenix species landed lightly on the ground. The 2 on the left are cyan, with a wingspan of more than 2 feet, a height of nearly 1 foot and 3 feet, and only 1 tail quill on the back. They look like big birds like peacocks. On the right side is a purple bird with a wingspan of over 3 feet, a height of nearly 9 feet, and a purple tail feather on its back. It looks like a crested ibis. Judging from their appearance, there is no doubt that the 3 big birds are of the genus Phoebe. As they landed, 3 girls aged 14 or 15 jumped off their backs. The first one was wearing a long white dress, with a calm temperament, beautiful scenery, and a head of black hair hanging casually on the back of her head. The one behind him was wearing a pink shorts and moccasin boots. He had a lively temperament, his big round eyes were full of cunning, and his black hair was braided into 2 braids on his shoulders. He was jumping up and down. He was obviously not a good person. A worry-free character. Next to the 2 of them, there was a handsome and beautiful girl wearing a purple sword uniform, her hair tied with a gold ring. The 3 of them came down to take a closer look at the situation in front of them. Especially when they saw Su Junming, the girl wearing a pink braid, her eyes widened and she exclaimed, "Master!" They were playing in the air earlier, and they were very anxious when they saw their master's escaping light. They thought they were in some trouble, so they followed him and flew over. Su Junming smiled lightly. "Why, Xiao Weiqi, after not seeing each other for several years, you dare to disrespect me, your master?" Fu Yueqi's heart trembled. The experience of being slapped on the palm by his master when he was not serious about his cultivation suddenly came to mind. He rolled his eyes, trotted over, grabbed master's sleeve, and said softly, "Master, how dare I disrespect you? It's just that I haven't seen you for a long time, and I was a little surprised to see master here suddenly." "Yueqi, don't be disrespectful to your master," Su Huang scolded. Fu Yueqi pouted, not daring to disobey Master Ao's order, so he obediently let go of Su Junming's sleeves and stepped aside. Su Junming saw it in his eyes and said nothing. Every master teaches his disciples in different ways, and he didn't want to interfere with Su Huang. Qingfeng pays homage to the master. May the master be safe. Compared to the ghostly Fu Yueqi, Fu Qingfeng, as the elder sister, has a ladylike temperament, stepping forward and greeting her politely. He smiled and nodded. "I haven't seen you for a few years, but you have already achieved the golden core cultivation level, which shows that you have worked hard every day, which is not bad. It's all taught by the teacher, the disciple dare not take credit," Fu Qingfeng said respectfully. "Little Huang it seems that you already have a successor." A smile appeared on Su Huang's face. She could not find fault with Fu Qingfeng, the eldest disciple. "Master, Grandmaster, I am already a golden elixir monk." Fu Yueqi is not willing to lag behind. "Haha, that's right, we forgot about our little moon pond." Su Junming smiled and patted her little head. He also liked this smart and lively disciple. The laughter stopped and he turned to look at the girl in sword attire standing next to Yun Mei. "Fellow Taoist Yun, is this your disciple?" Yun Mei nodded. "Go and give a gift to the real person." After the sword-clad girl nodded, she took 2 steps forward and said respectfully, "Zujlan, a disciple of Wooding Island, pays homage to Master Chongshan. Having said that, he secretly watched this Yuan Shendaxiu, who had destroyed the Black Heart Demon sect, annihilated the Longjiang Shui tribe, and became famous in Daong. With his ordinary appearance, tall figure, and friendly smile, there is no trace of the ferocious demeanor after killing millions of demons. If it hadn't been told by her mentor, she would never have imagined that such a person who couldn't feel the slightest magic power was the rumored #1 cultivator of Daong. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 463. A look that looked like a smile but not a smile came into Zhejian's eyes. His face turned red and he quickly lowered his head, not daring to look again. Yun Dao is so friendly and blessed that he can actually gain a disciple with the body of water virtue. The innate Taoist body has all the innate meridians and is born with the innate fundamental energy. It can directly enter the innate body without building a foundation. It is recognized by the cultivation world as the most suitable constitution for cultivation. If there are no accidents, it is easy to achieve Yuanying. If there is a good inheritance, it is much easier to advance to Yuanshen than ordinary monks. The body of water virtue is a kind of innate Tao body. The body of fire virtue, the body of wood virtue, even the yin and yang body of Renwuji, the body of Dragon Emperor's 5 virtues, etc. are all innate Tao bodies. It's just that the latter two are rarer and more powerful. There was a hint of surprise on Yunmi's face. Unexpectedly, Su Junming could see through the reality of her apprentice with just one glance. You're a real man. No matter how good your innate talent is, you still need to practice hard to achieve anything. Su Junming nodded slightly. Opening his palm, 3 black jade talismans emerged. These are the 3 soul-purifying talismans that I have practiced in sacrifice. After being sacrificed, they can soothe distracting thoughts, eliminate demons, and protect the soul. I will give them to you 3 little devils today. With a wave of his hand, 3 first-level magic weapons, the Purifying Mind Talisman, flew into the hands of Zhejiang and the Fu sisters. He, thank you so much, Master. Fu Yueqi followed up generously and thanked her tenderly. Fu Qingfeng did not refuse. After all, this was a treasure given by his master. When it came to Zhejiang, although she was also looking forward to some kind of meeting gift from this rumored senior, she was a little panicked when it was a magic weapon level talisman. After all, this thing is too precious, and getting the platform always makes her feel uneasy. Seeing her young apprentice's eyes asking for help, Yunmi smiled and said, "Why don't you quickly say thank you to the real person?" When Zhejiang came back to her senses, she was flustered and extremely happy to salute Su Junming. "Thank you, Masato. No need to be polite. I would also like to invite Master to come and sit in my dojo," Yunmi then said with a smile. Now that he's here, Su Junming doesn't refuse. The group of people took off the light and came to the Zongji Tower on Gulan Island. Su Junming floated down, and Kuei Niu's light flashed and turned into a human body. The spirit-level aura was quickly sensed by Yunmi. "Who is this?" "It is my registered disciple Niu Kuei." Kuei Niu is both a mount and a registered disciple in Su Junming's place. Niu Kuei has met fellow Taoist Yun. After the two of them greeted each other, Yunmi said with surprise and admiration at the same time, "The real person is indeed worthy of being a famous teacher. Not only is he highly skilled in cultivation, but his disciples have also made extraordinary achievements. Fellow Taoist, thank you very much. Master, where did this dog come from? It's so ugly." The eccentric Fu Yueqi was looking curiously at Hefeng, who was following Su Junming to the left and turned into the size of an ordinary native dog, and asked in surprise. "Ugly?" Hefeng instantly felt that his whole life was in bad shape. He turned his head and stared at Fu Yueqi, speaking with absolute certainty every word. Master Go, I am an ancient ghost dog, a mythical beast that guards the 18 hells, and the most handsome dog in the world. I don't know how many female fairies wanted to marry Master Go as a concubine. You actually called me ugly, what a look. He he he. Look at your pile of sarcomas. If you are not ugly, who is ugly? Fuyuechi pointed with his small hand at 8 black sarcomas the size of children's fists between the black dog's neck and shoulder blades. Of course the black dog knows what he looks like. These sarcomas were what grew out of it a year ago when it broke through the golden elixir. I don't know why it looks like this. But with these sarcomas present, it really doesn't look very pretty. When quarreling with Kuei Niu, the stupid Niu would often make fun of Kuei Niu. Yuechi, don't be arrogant, Su Huang scolded. Fu Yuechi, who was scolded by the teacher, shrank his neck, his big eyes flashed, he looked at the self-pitying black dog, and whispered. I was just joking, you are not ugly at all. Really, Black Dog doubted. Of course he nodded without hesitation, I have sweet-scented Osmanthus cake here, do you want to eat it? When he thought of food, Black Dog's eyes instantly lit up. All the negative emotions before were instantly thrown away. Eat. Fuyuechi smiled and turned his head. Master, Master, Master Yun's Julan Lake is so beautiful. It's his first time here. I'll take him out for a walk. He pointed to the black dog next to him. Su Huang frowned slightly and was about to refuse, but stopped when he saw the master beside him. Su Junming nodded. Go ahead, don't run too far. Fuyuechi nodded happily, greeted the black dog and ran out. Master, Master, Yuechi has a lively temper and is easy to cause trouble. I want to go out and watch, Fu Qingfeng said respectfully. Master, I also want to go. Zhejiang also didn't like staying with a few elders. Su Junming, Su Huang, and Yunmi looked at each other and agreed. Master, I also want to go out for a walk. Kuei Niu doesn't like situations that are too serious. Look at them. Kuei Niu nodded and walked out. In the blink of an eye, only the master and apprentice Su Junming and the white-haired fairy Yunmi were left in the living room. Master, how did you come to Wooding Island? I have been traveling in the East China Sea, and I happened to hear that fellow Taoist Yun was going to give a lecture here, so I planned to come and have a look. I just didn't expect you to be here too. Fellow Taoist Su was invited by me. Yunmi took over the conversation. I have been preaching on Wooding Island for many years, and the content of what I preach is water-based Taoism. Although in this land of the East China Sea, the water vapor is rich, which is most suitable for cultivation. There are also many people who practice the water method, but also the wind method and the ice method. It's just that I'm not good at these two things. Sister Su is good at this, so I invited her to my place. After a pause, he turned to look at Su Junming and continued with a smile. I just didn't expect that a real person would come to my Wooding Island. If I had known that, I wouldn't have bothered Sister Su to go all the way. Su Junming waved his hand. You two will handle the matter of preaching on your own, and I will not participate. Yunmi hurriedly said, Master, since it's the right time for the meeting, why should you refuse? Moreover, preaching Taoism and educating sentient beings is a matter of great merit. In addition, preaching is also an opportunity to review the past, learn new things, and consolidate practice. Master, it is exactly what Sister Yun said. Preaching is a matter of killing two birds with one stone. Now that you have arrived at Wooding Island, don't refuse, Su Huang said. After taking a look at her, Su Junming originally planned to visit Wooding Island for a while and then leave, but now it seems that he has made other plans. Forget it, just do as you say. I'm going to be a loose cultivator overseas. Thank you so much, Master Yunmi smiled happily. After opening the small store, Su Junming changed his mind. Fellow Taoist Yun, Your unfixed island in the East China Sea is far away from the central plains and located on the edge of the inland sea. I wonder if you have ever entered the windy and rough waters of the East China Sea. The waters of the East China Sea stretch hundreds of thousands of miles across and are extremely vast. And this vast ocean, from ancient times to the present, has been divided into inland seas and outer seas. The inland sea has little wind and waves and has many habitable islands. Therefore, although it is located overseas, it is still a prosperous place. But the outer sea is different. The area here is larger, but there are strong winds and waves all year round, heavy rains and ancient relics survive, and the spiritual energy is extremely violent. The harsh environment makes it difficult for even monks to survive in it, let alone ordinary people. It has been a sparsely populated place since ancient times. Yunmi was stunned for a moment. She never expected that Su Junming would care about that wild sea area. However, as a Yuan Shen monk, his character cultivation is naturally extraordinary, so he quickly calmed down and pondered for a while. To tell you the truth, I have been to the East China Sea several times. The waves there are hundreds or even thousands of feet high, and it is extremely difficult to escape. The wind speed is also very fast, like a sword, sharp and ruthless. However, the most deadly thing in the East China Sea is not the bad weather, but the ancient relics hiding in it. Speaking of this, a look of lingering fear appeared on her face. 150 years ago, when I had just broken through the Yuan Shen, I was arrogant and felt that the world could be conquered, so I took the magic treasure I had with me and went straight to the open sea. Although I encountered some troubles at the beginning, I got through it safely. Past. Until after traveling thousands of miles into the open sea, I encountered a giant snake. The snake has a dark body, a red head, and a body length of nearly 2,000 feet. It stretches across the sea like a giant mountain. Moreover, although the snake is powerful, it has no signs of transforming into a dragon, and it seems to be pregnant with infinite space in its belly. I once watched it swallow a giant kun hundreds of feet tall. This is a snake. Su Junming quickly understood. However, although the world of Liuzai is similar to the world of Jushu, it is different in many places. Just like the Book of Mountains and Seas, it does not exist in this world. Although there are many books similar to the classic of Mountains and Seas, there is no record of a snake in them. Although it was a bit embarrassing, I just took one look at the giant snake and felt that my body was cold, like a sword across my neck. Fortunately, after the snake ate the giant kun, it seemed that it had eaten and drank enough, and sank into the deep sea. Disappeared in the sea, otherwise I'm afraid there would be no more Yunmi in this world. After sighing, he calmed down. Since then, I have withdrawn from the open sea and never entered again. Look at Su Junming. Genren Su's cultivation ability is naturally 100 times better than mine, but the sea outside the east is hundreds of thousands of miles away, or even larger. It is still unknown how many of them are similar to that giant snake, or even better than its ancient relics. No one knows. In addition, the East China Sea has always been mysterious, and there may be more dangerous beings than those ancient relics. Yunmi looked solemn. Ma'am, please think twice before you act. Su Junming smiled and nodded. Thank you, fellow Taoist Yun, for telling the truth. Master, what are you doing in the outer sea? Su Huang asked. The infinite scenery is on the dangerous peak. The world of Daong practice is no longer attractive to me as a teacher. On the contrary, this dangerous East China Sea contains countless mysteries left over from ancient times. If we don't explore it, what will happen to us? I'm afraid I won't be willing to accept it if I leave in the future. Even so, the reason why he really wanted to enter the East China Sea was to pursue the ancient dragon court hidden there. The ancient world of Liuzai was also full of immortals and demons, and the ancient dragon court was the leader among them, with countless treasures. After a great battle, All these coveted treasures were dragged into the eye of the East China Sea by the Lord of the Dragon Court. Under the pressure of hundreds of millions of tons of sea water, it is difficult to invade. However, with the decline of heaven and earth, the once daunting eye of the East China Sea is still the most difficult obstacle to overcome in the world of spiritual practice, but Su Junming wants to try it. This is also the fundamental reason why he entered the East China Sea. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 464. Of course, the search for the ancient dragon court can be discussed with Su Huang, but not with an outsider like Yun Mei. Therefore, Su Junming just replaced it with adventure travel. Su Huang opened her mouth. She has been taught by Su Junming since she was ignorant. The relationship between the two is almost that of father and daughter. She is very clear about the character of her mentor and seldom changes her decisions. Yunmei admires the real person for his courage and broad-mindedness. But regarding the East China Sea, please think twice before taking any action. Su Junming nodded. Thank you, fellow Taoist Yun, for informing me. I will consider it carefully. At this point, the three of them wisely changed the topic. After chatting about some relaxed matters, Yunmei arranged a room for Su Junming to stay. There is still half a month until the day of the sermon. Since he agreed to this, he couldn't leave now. Boom. There was a knock on the door. Su Junming, who was sitting cross-legged in meditation, opened his eyes. Come in. With a squeak, Su Huang walked in. Su Junming smiled. I knew it was you. Sit down. After Su Huang nodded, he sat down on the futon next to him. Since Master guessed my coming, he also knows why I came. But for my overseas trip to the East China Sea. After nodding. Although the disciple also knows that the Master's mind is firm and his decision cannot be shaken unless he has to. However, the disciple still wants to give a few words of advice. With the Master's qualifications and understanding, another 100 years of work will be enough to advance to the perfection of the soul. Reaching the pinnacle of this world, and then going to the East China Sea, wouldn't it be more effective with half the effort? Su Junming smiled and said, you are indeed right. But it's a matter of time, so how can it be perfect? After waving his hand to interrupt Su Huang's words. Let me show you something. He opened his left palm, and with a flash of light, a small flag about 3 feet high appeared in Su Junming's palm. With the help of magic power, the small flag slowly floated towards Su Huang. The moment the latter caught it, Su Junming activated the Huishan spirit talisman, and Yimen Huangliang turned into a tough space barrier, isolating the room from the outside world. Seeing the Master's solemnity, Su Huang subconsciously paid attention to the black flag that looked ordinary and had some damage on the surface. Urge your spiritual consciousness to feel the black flag's restriction. In an instant, it seemed as if he had arrived in a vast and boundless world. The vast netherworld bone essence surged in like an ocean. The boundless innate ghostly white bones surpassed Su Huang's imagination of Lingbao. This is definitely not a spiritual treasure. Su Huang soon understood. With a flash of inspiration, Su Junming's soul projection also came to this chaotic and boundless space. With a wave of his hand, the vastness was boundless, like the wind, and the extremely violent innate ghost bone essence instantly returned to calm. Master, what kind of spiritual treasure is this treasure? It's so powerful, Su Huang asked impatiently. This treasure is called innate spiritual treasure. Innate spiritual treasure. Su Huang was stunned for a moment, as if some kind of memory was about to wake up deep in his soul, but after a few beats, it slowly fell silent again. That's right. The innate spiritual treasure is a treasure nurtured by heaven and earth. Not only is it powerful, it also nurtures the ultimate principles of heaven and earth. It is extremely precious. This spiritual treasure is called the Netherworld White Bone Banner. It contains the two principles of the Netherworld and the White Bones. If understood thoroughly, it can directly point to the golden immortal path. It is a low-grade innate spiritual treasure. Back then, I killed Haishan old demon, I got this spiritual treasure from him, and after slowly repairing it, it finally looks like it does now. Su Huang said slowly, Master, how strong is this baby? Her consciousness at the moment could not sense the edges of the netherworld bone flag at all, as if the surrounding area was filled with powerful innate Taishi netherworld bone essence for hundreds of millions of miles. Su Junming smiled lightly. If I have enough magical power to support my master, I can defeat the golden immortal without defeat. Su Huang looked suffocated. As a world where immortals once existed, there are records about immortals in the great classics. In addition, Su Junming often compiles various classics and customs that he has seen from other people's memories into classics and puts them in his library for reference. Former demon immortals such as the Black Mountain Old Demon and the Black Demon Taoist are even more important. Even Su Huang also understood the four realms of immortality above the Yuan Shen. Heavenly immortals, true immortals, mysterious immortals, and golden immortals. He can defeat the golden immortal without defeat. It is the immortal who can block the fourth realm. This is too far away and too powerful for Su Huang, who now has 3 corpse clones but no soul. However, she was so immersed in the tyranny of the netherworld white bone flag that she missed the key words in Su Junming's words. Enough mana. If you want to unleash the full power of the low-grade innate spiritual treasure netherworld white bone flag, you must have golden immortal level mana. With Su Junming's current level of cultivation, even if he activates the Shen De Zhenju, he can only use it once or twice before being drained. Of course, it is still possible to activate only 10% or 20% of the power of the nether bone flag with his current cultivation level. Su Junming did not say much about these details. With a wave of his sleeves, the 2 souls returned to the room. The nether bone flag sank into Su Junming's palm again and disappeared. Can you rest assured now? With this flag here, let alone the East China Sea and the sea, there is no place in the entire world where I can go. Su Huang nodded in agreement. Since Master has made preparations, I won't say much more. I only wish Master a fruitful return from this trip. Haha, don't worry. Okay, go back and rest early. It's rare for me to see my master again. Why don't you explain the way of ice to me again? That's fine. Su Junming taught Su Huang about Taoism for an hour, answering the confusion she encountered when practicing the Tao of ice in the past few years. After finally chatting with Fu Qingfeng and Fu Yueqi, she said goodbye and left. After seeing off the 5th disciple, Su Junming returned to Chongshan residence in Daihuang Mountain. On the surface, Chongshan residence is just a residence covering an area of no more than 2 or 3 acres, with a 2-story bamboo building in the middle and front and rear courtyards. In fact, Su Junming used the Huishan Dao method to practice the interior, which can expand a huge amount of space. When he arrived at a room on the 2nd floor of Chongshan residence, he formed a seal with his hands, unlocked the seal on the door, opened the door and walked in. This is a huge space measuring thousands of feet. 12 groups of giant blue-white beads that were 100 feet in diameter emitted a cool light, illuminating the entire space as bright as day. This is the night pearl practiced by Su Junming. It is only used for lighting and has no other functions. Under the powerful light of the night pearl, there lay a giant corpse that was as big as a mountain and was 3,000 feet tall. This corpse has the head of a bull and a human body, with a total of 6 arms. In the broad chest was inserted a silver-white giant sword that was as big as 1,000 feet. The strong evil spirit emanated from the corpse. Although Su Junming has been here many times, he is still shocked by this evil spirit. Taking a deep breath, he reached out and made a move, and the netherworld bone flag appeared in his palm. With a push of magic power, the netherworld chi flickered, and the whole person felt much better. As expected, he was worthy of being a high-ranking witch general. Even though he had been dead for thousands of years, he could still have such a powerful evil spirit even if he was suppressed by a top-quality fairy sword. After sighing, he took a step forward and instantly reached the top of the Suo Shen sword and sat down cross-legged on the calyx of the sword. Since breaking into the soul, he planned to practice the locking god sword, master this magical weapon, and use it for his own use. Unfortunately, even with the assistance of the bronze mirror, this process was more difficult than he imagined. Nearly 10 years have passed since he broke into the soul. But he only understood 3 of the immortal taboos within the locking divine sword. Although I have initially mastered this magical weapon, it is still very early to use it. However, it was not all without gain. At least his understanding of the sealing Dao and the sword Dao had progressed rapidly, surpassing the soul Dao that once ranked first among all the Dao. I don't know how awesome he was in the past, but it wasn't until someone touched his consciousness that he left in Gulandao's room that Su Junming woke up from his enlightenment. After looking at the divine locking sword and the giant corpse at his feet, he had a flash of inspiration and left Chongshan residence. Zaya opened the door, and his 5th disciple and Yunmei were standing outside. "Master, the preaching conference will start in half an hour, so I have the audacity to interrupt Master's Kingziu." "Please don't blame me," Yunmei said. "Since this is something Pandeo has agreed to a long time ago, it can't be called an intrusion. Let's go." "Real person please." Su Junming nodded, left the bamboo building, and led by Yunmei to the east side of Julan Island. There is a huge boulder that protrudes out of the lake and is 12 feet high. The boulder was polished extremely smooth, and 3 purple and gold futons were lined up. Obviously, this seat is for Su Junming, Yunmei, and Su Huang. Behind the 3 purple and gold futons, there are 5 yellow futons, which are obviously designed for disciples from both sides. The vast lake on the east side of the boulder is covered with starlight spiritual lotus. The pink lotus flowers are not in bloom, they are just flower buds the size of water tanks. Surrounding these bones are giant lotus leaves, each 3 feet in size, floating on the water or exposed in mid-air. At this moment, these lotus leaves were filled with densely packed monks, almost occupying all the lotus leaves. At a quick glance, I'm afraid there are thousands or even tens of thousands of people. "Ma'am, please sit in the middle." Su Junming shook his head. "This place is your dojo, and you should be the one to preside over this Dharma gathering. I will let you take the lead in the middle." After that, he sat down on the futon on the left side. Yunmei was about to continue, but was stopped by Su Huang next to her. "Sister, Master always says the same thing, so please stop trying to persuade me. Besides, my sister is hosting this Wooding Island Dharma assembly. If we do it in the middle, wouldn't we be taking over the host? Having said that, those who are cultivators come first. Compared with real people, my sister is far behind in terms of cultivation and realm. Sister, you are worrying too much. It doesn't mean you can't preach if you don't sit in the middle." After saying that, Su Huang sat down on the futon on the far right. Seeing how their master and disciple were doing, Yunmei had no choice but to sit in the middle seat. In the back, Fu Qingfen, Fu Yueqi, and Zhejiang were sitting behind their respective masters. Black Dog and Kuei Niu changed their human forms and sat next to the 3 of them.